Hello, Internet, and welcome to the last weekly before the next bronze pay per view of the Rough Drafts Competes Journey of Wrestling League. It's a special day today because not only am I joined by my typical co host here, Xander. Say hi to the people at home, Xander.
Hi, I'm the typical co-host here.
Yes, but I'm also joined by the lovely Eduardo, this is your first time on a weekly broadcast. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm the atypical host here.
Yes, you are. But we're very glad to have you all the same, especially because we are going to be starting with your card this week. As everyone who's been following the YouTube channel knows, you were a little bit hamstrung at the start of this month due to a hurricane, which I did not know happened in South America. And yet, you were unable to have your typical show. You had a great 4.5 star bounce back last week. But what can people expect from this last weekly here?
I mean, like, first for clarification, we got the weather report back, and it was a water spout. Indeed, it was not a hurricane.
Ah, I see.
So, yeah, that will explain a lot of the things that happened so far.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, well, we're taking it. Obviously, we're into this. This has been like a month to rebuild. We're just kind of like building a refuge to the ashes until like we're gonna rise again like a phoenix. So you can go ahead and set up Phoenix by Fall Out Boy as my intro song. But yeah,
Perfect. Yeah, man, if I had thought about setting up some music, I rarely do music for the weeklies, but I feel like it's not like I'm making any money on these videos anyway. Might as well throw some fun music in there. But we start with this match between Ivy Chavez and Madison Marlowe. It's a submission between these two. Eduardo, tell us about the history between these two because I believe this is a long-standing rivalry.
yeah, Ivy Chavez actually, Madison Marlowe met each other here at the company actually, but they have been like both friends and rivals for as long as they have been here, and they're both like very technical wrestlers. So whenever they got the opportunity to jump together into a submission match, they were both up to show up who's the better in this regard. Uh,
Absolutely. I mean, then you look at like Madison Marlowe, a 3-3, 34-year-old heel, could really benefit from some overness boosts if you want to turn her into a 4-4. But Ivy Chavez, of course, well on her way. A 25-year-old face who's a little bit closer to being over, a 3-2 in her own right. Xander, given that this is a fight between two strong style specialists trying to prove themselves, who do you think is going to take the first 1v1 match in their rivalry?
Ooh, in the first 1v1 match in the rivalry, I think that the heel should get it here. Madison Marlowe should take the big dub. She's got a little bit more to gain from winning. That being said, they're both 1-5 and 0-6 respectively. If the goal is to build Ivy Chavez back up as Mrs. America, then I can see giving her a win here, but I think give it to Madison early and then have Ivy come out, take it, win the feud, and you accomplish that goal. So I'm saying Madison.
I think Madison makes sense. Eduardo, do you agree?
Yeah, he's correct. We're going for Edith Madison. Also, she's going with this corrupted gimmick, which is
Oh no!
Oh no!
Okay, well, it's a slight injury, so that's good. And injury
I don't feel
revenge
good
has
about this anymore.
increased the hype here. It was a hot match. Look at the overness boost for each of them. Both of them well on their way to getting over with the crowd. Oh, my dude. That's so unfortunate.
Oh,
And the injuries continue for this competition.
Yeah. The good news is that it's a slight
the
injury.
good news is I'm working on leveling up the doctor ward, so
Well, I have some bad news. Doctors actually don't level up from slight injuries. Do not ask me why.
okay, I'm screwed.
Yeah, you
I'm
just
just
got
screwed.
you got XP, but he's not going to actually get any work leveling up. That's just like a go home and rest. I think it's that's the reasoning, right? It's because
Yeah.
it's like, well, go home and ice it, for a couple weeks and come back.
I just
Um,
it was a zero fatigue. It was 0% fatigue. How is it a 0.5% chance in a submission match? That's insane. Ugh.
If XCOM has taught me
You,
anything, is that percent is more than enough.
genuine question: does Eduardo's submission is it 2-star because he hasn't upgraded it to gold?
It is not gold yet. That is true.
So yeah, maybe it's 2-star injury rate because that's what happened to me with the tables. I had
Ah.
too low, and I got the big injury. So yeah.
Well, the good news is that everything involving this feud will be better when Madison gets back. Hopefully, it's just a slight injury. Hopefully, it's one of those 1 month things. Maybe by the
Yeah.
end of the pay per view, she's already back. Maybe she can wrestle on it, which, there can be a slight penalty for that, but depending on the story you have in mind. But we will be wishing Madison Marlowe the best here at the Rough Drafts Competes League. But we've got a video package on Kyle Cage. What was why did you want to highlight Kyle Cage here, Eduardo?
Honestly, Kyle Cage is an up-and-coming wrestler that is proving that he deserves to be here with the top dogs, and he's going to get his chance to prove it. Um, Also, he's going to go into like this very big feud with Masucci, so they're gonna have to be both up to par.
Absolutely. And look, your video package is just 5 experience away from becoming silver. Having 2 silver packages is obviously going to be quite helpful in the long run. So, but we move on to another submission match. Fingers crossed this one works out better for your.
Can we like change it last minute?
I wish, buddy. But it's between 2 incredible competitors with a pretty intense rivalry, from what I understand. How did this?
Yeah, no, this is like the opposite. Like, Ripcho and Pink Arrow know each other from high school. They've always had like a bit of like rivalry between a lot of like stuff, like it's in studies, in sports, and now they're going into it on the big stage. And like none of them are necessarily like submission style specialists, but they honestly just want to rip each other's throats. So this is going to be their chance to do it.
It's going to be quite an intense match then. Mrs. XPW, an outlet that definitely wasn't ridden over by the rest of us here when we made this league. I mean, Xander, looking at these 2 competitors, who would you give the edge to?
I want to see Juno Ripshaw get the dub. All right. I've rooted for her the last 2 matches, and she's lost both. I'm hoping that I'm not cursing her here. I like Pink Arrow. I think Pink Arrow getting that big, overness dub would be huge. Again, in terms of the stats of it here, I giving it to Pink Arrow makes the most sense. I don't care. That's not why I'm rooting for Juno. Juno needs a dub because I've rooted for her twice and she hasn't won either time. So this is obviously me rooting for her here this 3rd time. That's going to be what does it. Eduardo is clearly changing his decision right now based on my argument, and that's that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love your argument. Sometimes third time's not the charm, and Pink Arrow's going to take the win.
Yeah,
Okay.
it
Well, I hate you, and I'll never forgive you for this.
It makes a lot of sense because look, Pink Arrow is now over with the fans. She is a 4-4 moving forward. It's a 4.5 star
maybe
match.
4 times the charm.
Sorry?
No, maybe 4 times the charm.
4th time, yeah, perhaps. Submission matches, you will need 1 more match. It's 8 experience away, which is a damn shame. But a holy shit moment is big here. Pink Arrow hitting Juno Ripshaw with a hard headbutt that almost knocked them both out. You do love to see that. Only helps Pink Arrow get over with the fans even more so. Not quite a main eventer yet, but Juno also safely remains a main eventer. So we will see what their next match brings. But I think all in all, got to be feeling pretty good about that one.
Yeah, no, pretty good match. No injuries there, so.
Meanwhile, we have a very important feud package. Vince, check your PayPal, buddy.
Can I just fire Vince Bailey?
No. You have to keep him on. That's the demand of the group of us here, saying that we need Vince Bailey to nerf you.
See, here's the thing, though. Here's the positive. As much as that 50% effectiveness sucks, it did give a little boost for Lionel. It did give a little boost. And most importantly, that is your 25th package, which means that Eduardo can join me in leveling up the production facility. Though I'm kind of surprised. I thought there was a pop-up when I got that threshold last time. But we did check. You were at 23 out of 25. You should be at 25 out of 25 now, which means that Eduardo, at your next pay per view, you're going to have two more matches than your competitors that don't have the level up. Which should be Xander and Walter, but somebody on this call may have gotten a couple artifacts that might circumvent that limitation.
Huh? What?
No.
Who? Where's Walter?
Yeah, how could Walter do this?
Of course.
That's the logic here. Well, we move on to my favorite. I love that this has become a long-standing match type in your promotion. This is the Teddy Bear on a Pole match, the Campeonato de Luchasaur Classic between Razor Jackson and Kenneth King. Tell us how this feud's been going on for, I think, a back and forth for a bit now. Tell us how this really came together.
I mean, these both are like rising stars that are like looking to prove that they can rivals with the big dogs. They're decently popular, both around 800, but they want to prove that they can get like to the main event. So this is going to be their chance to like say like, hey, I'm the guy who deserves to be up there.
Absolutely. And I think who wins this match says a lot about what you prioritize in this game. Kenneth already over with the fans. Becoming a main eventer would obviously be big for him. But Razor Jackson, already a main eventer, just needs that overness to push him to the same heights from a stat perspective that Kenneth King has. Xander, if you were Eduardo, what would you have done?
If I were Eduardo, I would have made a lot of mistakes, apparently. No, I'd give it to Razor Jackson here. Razor Jackson's coming off a win. He needs another dub to get, like, one good win pulls him up to being over finally, right? And you want to maintain that 803 popularity, I think. Obviously, if the match is good, you can do that while giving the win to Kenneth, who would also go over. But conversely, I think Razor losing it is more of a danger than Kenneth gaining it at the expense of Razor, right? Like if Razor gets it and Kenneth just gets a little bit closer because the match is good, that's good. Versus Kenneth getting it, going over, but then Razor loses. I feel like that's just a worse outcome. So I would personally give it to Razor. But, I've guessed, I got the Madison one correct. So I'm 1 for 1 today. I don't know is the answer.
Well, you do know that Eduardo's typical response is, well, that won't happen. They won't drop because
yes,
it'll be an overmatch and whatnot. But Eduardo, did you indeed go with Razor Jackson this time around?
You know what? I have famously said in the past that wouldn't happen. But you know what will happen this time is Razor Jackson will get over.
There you go. We do love to see that. It is a nice bonus here. It looks like the pole match, it had a decreased effect on the overall rating, unfortunately. Pole matches, very volatile inherently. They can be incredible. They can be rough. And leveling them up increases the consistency, but it only takes it so far. I think ultimately, right, like Kenneth losing an overness doesn't matter here. Razor gaining one definitely does matter here. But obviously that 3.5 star result isn't exactly what you were hoping for.
Yeah, no, that was definitely a bit unlucky, but it's okay.
Yeah. Look,
We'll get back for the main event.
Absolutely. And this main event is the start of a new feud between No and Ryota, which can you remind the folks at home what the actual name of this tag team should be? Because
the Here and Now.
The Here and Now, of course. The game unfortunately did not register the team name when Eduardo made this, and it costs 50 creativity points to fix, which is absurd. I cannot stress enough that in a game that is all about customization, the fact that that costs points at all, let alone 50 points, Dev, if you're listening to this somehow, come on, that's just bullying. But the Here and Now versus the Constellation, how did this match come together?
They're both like face tag teams that decided that also they want to prove each other and say that they can be like the top talent of the company. Mm-hmm. So they're here to basically put on a very entertaining, a very like strong style match on over the tables, and be like who will be the rising star over the next and the best tag team there is.
This is a top talent feud, you will notice, Xander. So it's not just two faces, but two faces who are incredibly over with the fans despite their lower popularity here, which means that one of them with a good push could really go a long way. Who do you think gets the nod?
Man, I don't know. I think No and Ryota can take the L, right? And give the win here to the Constellation because they're 0-4. You know, they benefit a little bit from gaining that popularity. I don't think either of them really benefit much from getting overness here, because they both seem like they're pretty over. But I do think that there's some benefit to giving the Constellation a dub and pushing that up, especially because No and Ryota, and also really the morale, right? Like you have a 100% over crew in No and Ryota who are also 92% morale, and they haven't taken a win or a loss yet, so it's their first time running this together. Like I said, I like the idea of giving it to the Constellation, giving it to the established, tag or group here. And as a result, they benefit a little bit more. But I don't know. I don't pretend to know what Eduardo's thinking. Okay, I don't. I root off of what I would do, and I like to see where Eduardo goes with it.
That is
My
very
friend, you're 100% correct. The Constellation is taking it.
absolutely. There we go.
Let's go.
And it is a nice 4-star match. No and Ryota, a little bit of an overness hit, which is unfortunate. But the feud has started, and here's our second holy shit moment of the night. Clayton Brown hitting Matthew No with the finisher. That gives him an overness boost. That's 30 creativity points. And oh, by the way, your tables are now a gold star match, which is going to increase the popularity boost moving forward for that. So I think, obviously, some of the scores here probably a little bit lower than you were hoping, but given that the weeklies, like, you were already screwed over by the first weekly, so the score here doesn't really matter compared to maybe some other weeklies that you've been in. A lot of progress on some things that really do matter in the long run. So I think, I don't know. I would be happy with this card. How are you feeling?
I'm all right. Like the important part of this weekly was just the setup. So we got the setup, we're getting it done, and we'll come back in the main event.
Yeah, absolutely. The setup is there, and so will that upgrade for the production facility, which I do think with 2 holy shit moments you're going to be able to do safely, and I do think will go a long way there. But it is time to move on to Walter's league. Walter, of course, being the one person who is not here tonight. Quite the card ahead of us. I will say I love. Walter has been giving me notes so that I can make sure that I have the lore of this league correct and ready to go. So I'm very excited to share with you what he has planned today. Because for once, it's not going to include Chase getting the shit kicked out of him, I don't think. Well, actually, that's not true. We'll get there. Anyway, we move on to our opening match, Amanda Ace versus Maester Gomez. Now, Maestra, you may recall, absolutely furious about losing her last match. She was in a position where she was ready to win. Angelina Cardinal came down, distracted her, and allowed her to get pinned up. That was a match Maester thought she had and deserved to win. But she's going to take that out now on Amanda Ace, someone who has worked very closely with Angelina Cardinal. They've been in some tag matches together. They're both in the Lads faction. Amanda's here to defend Angelina's honor, really prove that Maestra is not nearly the competitor that she seems to think she is. Eduardo, I'm curious, we get to hear your analysis here. Who do you think gets the win between these two competitors?
Honestly, I think Maestro is precisely the kind of wrestler she thinks she is, and she's going to prove it out today, beating Amanda Ace.
Do you agree there, Xander?
No.
Interesting.
I think Amanda's taking this one. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like Walter wants to give it to the babyface in the hype steel cage match.
Interesting. Well,
I just think it will be like just too cruel to have Maestra punching back 2 weeks in a row. But hey, Walter does Walter things.
Walter does Walter things. And in this case, Eduardo was completely correct. Maestra is the wrestler that she believes herself to be. And Maestra, having now won this match in a steel cage, Angelina Cardinal is coming down from backstage, and she has said, "Look, Maestra, you won this match. You want to come after me? Fine. You face me in a steel cell match. The first steel cell match in the Stamford Wrestling Alliance's history since it just got unlocked at Mayhem, the pay-per-view next week. So it will be Maestra versus Angelina Cardinal. That match is coming. Maestra earned her right to be there and is so close, literally less than a percentage point away from becoming over and being a 4-3. So, Walter, you'll have to settle with a 4.25-star match, but I think a very strong start to this weekly. Which now gets into one of the more interesting feuds that we've been following here. The tag feud. The tag belt, of course, right now held by Down Under. And Down Under and Neon Wings last week, they were having a gentleman's match, right? Neon Wings deserves a shot at the title, and they weren't originally going to ask for one because it's a faction member. You don't take a belt from someone in your faction. But Down Under believed, hey, you deserve a shot. And Hollywood Bound said, fuck that. They came in, disrupted the match, ensured that Down Under secured a win, and Down Under and Neon Wings were like, hey, Walter, that's not fair. They shouldn't have interrupted here. We should get a match at Mayhem. We should get a do-over on this because this match shouldn't have been soiled by their cheating shenanigans. And Hollywood Bound, of course, storm in there and say, hey, no. We deserve to be in that match. We're the best tag team in this division. And it's not our fault that they couldn't keep their heads on straight when we came down to interfere. And then Prodigious come in here and say, wait, no. These three have already had their chance at a title. It's our turn. And so Walter, in his infinite wisdom, says, okay, here's how this is going to work. Neon Wings and Down Under, it's going to be a 4v4 match. If your two tag teams beat Prodigious and Hollywood Bound, then it's going to be the two of you at the pay-per-view. But if Prodigious and Hollywood Bound, from different factions, no experience working together, can team up and beat you guys, they get a shot at the title too. So, with all of that said, Xander, who do you think is taking the win here?
I want Tyson Morrisow's crew to get the dub here. Mm-hmm. I don't want the lads to win. Mm-hmm. And that's it.
Okay, great. Yeah, look, you don't like them. That's fair enough. Eduardo, what about you?
Interesting. I honestly think that the time of the lads is over. I think it's time for the factions to rise.
Okay. I think that Walter agrees with both of you. It is indeed going to be a big win over. And look at that. D'Angelo Starr and Joey Stone both getting over with the crowd. That is huge for Hollywood Bound, I believe. Actually, it should be one member of Hollywood Bound and one member of Prodigious. So both of those getting over. Big match there. Hot match with the crowd. Only gets the 4 stars, but I think that popularity boost is very clearly important. Gets Dominatus Tenebris to a reputation 7 as a faction, which is big. Prodigy really needed that win, so good for them. And indeed, Hollywood Bound and Prodigious will both be there at Mayhem, challenging Down Under and Neon Wings for the tag title. So well done to them. Well earned on that front. And now we build hype for Mayhem. And oh no, Amelie, what is you doing? That's tough. That's tough to see. I guess Vince Bailey's not the worst producer of the day.
Well, we appreciate you, Amelie. If you would kindly check your PayPal and your Venmo, that would be phenomenal. I just want to say, really, really pleased with the work she's doing here, and gotta kick someone while they're down.
Yeah. Eduardo, are you feeling some sympathy, some shared sympathy for this production package here, or is this just the nature of the beast?
Yeah, honestly, Walter did not deserve this. He has all my sympathy for this. Producers kind of suck in this game.
Producers have been very weak compared to what they have been in previous leagues that I've played in. It does not seem like leveling up to level 2 helped nearly as much as one might
Yeah,
think.
no. The highest my producer has gotten has been 4 stars, and that has been like the offset. That has been just one time. The average for him is like 3 stars.
Yeah. There,
So getting 2 stars is slightly below average, but still undeserved. Totally.
Yeah, there's a reason that Walter has shifted to a wide variety of packages. It may mean that he'll have fewer matches at the pay per view, but he recognizes that these packages just do not always work out. But we've got a big match here now: Jules Murphy versus Drew King. Now this is a big one because neither of these competitors have a ton of wins under their belt, but they're both people who have come to Walter and said, "Hey, we deserve a shot at a title. We're main eventers. We're very strong from a work rate perspective. The fans love us. We deserve our shot." And Walter said, "You know what? You're right." And Christopher Devlin does need a new opponent at this pay-per-view. He is tired of the people he has been fighting and disposing of regularly. So, we've got a title shot on a pole match. Whichever of these two wrestlers wins tonight will get a shot at Christopher Devlin and the World Championship at Mayhem. Eduardo, looking at these two competitors, who do you think gets the nod?
The King of the Kingdom, obviously.
The King of the Kingdom. Do you agree there, Xander?
Jules Murphy,
Okay.
the Terminator. All right, spelled incorrectly. The
Yeah,
Terminator.
the
Okay.
Terminator, like you would spell tater
But
tots, which
yeah,
I appreciate.
oh God, the Terminator. Yeah, no, that's that's who I'm rooting for. It wasn't for that reason before, but it is now.
Fantastic. I will say, I really feel like this match could go either way. I like giving it to Drew King just outside of my role as an unbiased announcer here, just because I think getting him to face of the company status could be interesting. But here's the thing, it's Christopher Devlin. And I think Walter understands that anyone going up against Devlin, unless they are the best of the best, it's a meat grinder. And so Jules Murphy is going to get his shot. It is going to be a 3 3/4 star match. I'm going to guess, yep, the poll had a decreased effect. It is the most volatile, and it was Walter's first poll match, so unfortunate there. But Jules Murphy with a win. It's a nice boost to his morale. Drew King very much not happy about losing here, but he's got overness and morale to spare. And this means that Jules Murphy, the Terminator, will have a shot against Christopher Devlin at the next pay-per-view. But here's the kind of segment that Walter's been excelling at, and you can see the results here. It is a stare down between Ogawa and Kaiichi Sakurai. Sakurai has, this rivalry we have seen with Kaito Sakura as well, a big part of this, right? The former mentor of both of these wrestlers, who believed that Sakurai was ungrateful for his efforts, and Ogawa was his real prodigy now. Sakurai's had enough. He's like, look, I've put in the work. I'm proud of what I've done, and I am better than Ogawa, which means I am going to challenge him at Mayhem to a shoot fight. This is a new gimmick match that Walter has created specifically for this rivalry. It is an MMA style match at Mayhem, so it will be full on mixed martial arts energy. The two of them are going to go blow for blow, and I, for one, can't wait to see it. And clearly, with a 4 1/4 star rating, the fans can't either.
You love to see it. And again, that's the one that Amelie wasn't on, so of course it's going to go well because we did pay her this week. So it is what it is.
It is also, and I think you know this, Eduardo, but for folks at home who are playing this game and maybe don't know, when you are doing a non-package segment, the larger focus is not on your producer; it is on the charisma of your wrestlers. So if they've got a high charisma stat, they can carry a segment to a very high score, even if your producers are kind of trash. So just something to keep in mind here as we move forward. But here we have last week, Xander, you know very well, I got kidnapped. I got kidnapped to who knows where. And now, suddenly, Eddie Davis and Assassino have dragged Chase to the center of the ring. And Devlin has gotten on the mic and says that he will no-show Mayhem unless Chase can win a last man standing match right now. So Chase, having been kidnapped, held who knows where since the last
kidnapped,
show.
Beaten, hostage,
absolutely broken down,
ransomed.
If I didn't know any better, I'd say that Devlin was trying to mentally break me for all of the sins that I've committed as the host of this league. And Eddie Davis, the time traveler militia, kind of the right hand. The left hand to Assassino's right hand, we could say, of Christopher Devlin right now, is the man who's been assigned to take Chase out. Eduardo, who do you think's getting the win here?
I think Chase is getting the upset.
I think
honestly, I think he will, like, I don't know how, but I think he will find it in him to manage to pull a win, just because it will be such a fun storyline, honestly.
Yeah. Do you agree there, Xander?
I do agree.
I think as soon as Devlin said, I'm no showing the pay-per-view unless Chase wins, we all knew where this was going to go. But
I mean, let's be honest. Wow.
Look at that. A 5 1/4 star match in the main event slot. That is what Walter needed if he was going to win this
massive.
set of weeklies. That's huge.
Yeah.
Massive.
And look, it is worth saying, after this, Chase looks mentally worn out. He is hanging in by a thread, but he is going to be able to go home to his own bed tonight. He looks almost just completely out of it, just incapable of taking in exactly how big this was. But he's not going down without a fight. And Walter, I'm kind of surprised that doubling the 5.5 doesn't get him to 4.5 points here. He is going to have to settle for 4 1/4. But one hell of a storyline he's building with Chase and Christopher Devlin.
It was that 3 3/4 star match. Honestly, if he got 4 stars on that match, I bet it goes to 4.5.
Yeah, or maybe a 1/4 star.
Or that one, yeah.
It's a damn shame. Also, if the event package wasn't just complete trash.
Yes.
But I think a lot to like. 2 different people getting over here. A holy shit moment when Chase threw Eddie Davis off the stage. You got the Steel Cell match. You got the level ups for Prodigy and Dominatus Tenebris, which Prodigy really needed the level up because they had a random event that knocked their prestige down substantially at the beginning of the month. So still a lot to like here from Walter, but we do have to move forward. Xander, on the last show, your pal Skullface, we found out it was a torn ankle ligament. He'll be out for 2 to 4 months. The show, I'm sure you've had to make some changes to your plans, but what can fans expect from tonight's weekly?
Listen, we've got stuff continuing. We've got stuff building. There is a lot happening here on this card, actually. It is a lot more hype than it looks on its face. Just very honestly, we've got stuff pushing for the end of the Empire feud. That feud is a moving. That train is a rolling, okay? And importantly, it's happening with Emily Everett competing for the first time ever in this promotion, not for a belt, okay? And hilariously, that's not even the main event. The main event tonight is the blow-off match between Executioner and Azaki that I cannot wait to get to, because they had a really hype match before this, with the three-way, and now we talked about it at the pay-per-view. Executioner wants to literally murder Azaki Cordova, put him in the dirt, and establish himself as the Executioner.
Yeah, we're going to have to see how this match comes out. We will also, unfortunately, have to say goodbye to Eduardo. He's got some other things he needs to take care of, but we're very glad he could join us for their first two cards of the night. And now we will move on. Xander,
Yes, thank you, Eduardo.
You are just a quarter star behind me right now.
I can't wait.
So let's go into the submission match here, starting the night with Skull Shot and Serpentine Suprema. Tell us how this match came together.
Yeah, so, Skull Shot and Serpentine, they've been doing a little bit of work for the promotion. Obviously, Skull Shot not having gotten a win yet, but he's been a part of some big matches. That's why you can see his overness is at 100%. Morale is at 95%, is just below that 800 cutoff. Skull Shot has been in some big, big matches. Simultaneously, Serpentine Suprema, right? Someone that was on a hot streak, started off a little slow being a part of other matches, and then was on a hot streak and has gone cold recently. He's looking to regain that, momentum and motivation here, trying to get back, what he was building toward as a new main eventer. But, since he moved up, it's been nothing but difficulty. And so this is him kind of trying to reestablish himself against one of those guys that's looking to be a main eventer as well, and not, already in the upper echelon. So you've got, a good match between two wrestlers, both of whom want to show up and represent their factions here, but aren't quite, ready to make the move against some of the bigger names.
That's very fair. I like both of these wrestlers a lot. Serpentine Suprema is someone that I will always have a fond place in my heart for, because he did a lot of work for me in my first league that kind of inspired all of what we're seeing today and throughout this competition. I will say personally, I look at Skull Shot. He has yet to get a singles win. He is 15 points from becoming a main eventer. I think that's a more immediate goal that one can get, and one that's worth pushing for. But I believe from my notes here, Xander, that you've gone in a different direction.
Yeah, listen, Skull Shot doing good stuff, but in all honesty, he's not ready to compete with the upper end yet. Serpentine is and has been there, and right now, oh my God. Okay, well,
come on.
I don't know what to say. That's my third injury in 3 weeks.
Look, this is a zero fatigue
0%.
guy.
Yeah.
This isn't even like one of the ones where we were worried about him going in.
Yep. And neither of them are dangerous worker, I don't believe either, right?
I don't believe so.
And injury resilient. Injury resilient. Yo, I don't even come at me with that. All right.
I mean, it's just a slight injury. That's the good news. Yep. So he should be back sooner rather than later. But that's a 4-star match and an injury you'll have to work through.
Okay. I mean, injury revenge is coming back. We got that. So there's stuff going on. This feud will be back. TBD. God, that's awful. Okay, great. 4-star match, though. We'll take it for the start of the card.
Yes. But we'll also have to take, I believe this is the end of Menelaus.
It is the end of Menelaus.
Yeah, what happened?
Yeah, so listen, Green Arrow joined Juge with his brother. And they've been, making some decisions. And so this is really Green Arrow saying, listen, guys, the work we put in Menelaus was great. We don't hold the belt. All right. We're getting kind of trampled in the trios. And I've got stuff I need to do with my new faction, Juge. I wish you guys the best of luck. No hard feelings. But I gotta move on. And Gavin and Regan saying, you know what? We've got our own goals, our own ambitions. And that's fine. There's no amicable or no hard feelings here between this split. Really all about what their goals are within the promotion, and they're no longer aligned from where it started. They had a good run together. They do appreciate each other. But I will say Regan and Gavin, they kind of see this as an opportunity. They see what Green Arrow is doing, and let's just say it may inspire them going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, look, the Regan Awesome somehow the winner of this, getting an overness boost and a popularity boost. He must have been particularly good on the mic. The fans will miss Manalaus, but I'm sure they will be able to see them in some other places moving forward. But speaking of trios, you've got a title match here between Brigantia and a new team, I believe, called Young Revolution.
Yes. All right. So here you've got Brigantia. These guys 3-0. They have been dominant since they reformed, right? And now you've got a new trio here. This is a trio that has kind of been in the making. You've got you've got all these good wrestlers. You got Matt Payne and Love Hendricks, and they've brought in Sinister Tengu. Matt Payne and Love Hendricks, of course, the new tag, Love Hurts. But they said, you know what? We're all doing good things in the tag front. We're gonna run a trio now. We think we can make a good run for this belt. It's been kind of a weaker belt, and we think that as a result, this is our place to shine. And they said, you know what? We want someone who's young, someone who's hungry, someone that hasn't gotten as much love in the promotion. And so they're bringing in Sinister Tengu because they think he can be the guy that rounds them out, gives them a little bit of a let's say a hard edge, and something that they can run here against the very established tag or trio that is also right the face of their faction.
I mean, I think that's very fair. I do find it very funny that Young Revolution is almost 9 years older than Brigantia on average. Not quite as Young Revolution as Brigantia, that's for sure. But
yes.
I do like, I mean, I love Hendricks. Matt Payne, I think, has done some great work. Sinister Tengu's an interesting one. He's, done some work on that lower mid card, and I think is someone that people are excited for. I do think, and not just because it's a weekly, but I do think Brigantia probably, for this first match takes the win here. Am I right on that?
Yes, you are. I'm not going to pretend. All right, this is the beginning of the feud. And
there you go.
And we'll take it, but because people like it. But yeah, this is the beginning of the feud. This is, Young Revolution coming out, showing up in a violent street fight. And of course, Brigantia retain. But at the end of the day, this is a feud you guys are going to see. You're going to see Young Revolution in a lot more matches. We are trying to revitalize our Triple Glory Championship because it's basically just been a battle of 3 different trios. And there's a lot of folks that want to make a name for themselves that haven't been able to do it in solos. And we think that there's room for them to start doing it under this belt. And Young Revolution are just the start of that. They are the Young Revolution, and you will see more of them.
Absolutely. And we're also, Coda Super and Matt Robinson, both of them now starting to get over with the fans. That 5.5% overness boost is huge for Brigantia. That alone makes this match worth it, even if the rating hadn't been great. But it also was a well-received
It also
match.
was great, yes.
So,
yes, we'll take it.
Well done on that front for sure. But now you get into this triple threat street fight match, which you were saying, here's Emily Everett, the franchise, in a weekly card. And not for a title. How did this match come together?
Yeah, listen, Emily dropped the belt, in a really contested match against Ume, and Emily is, she's the face of the company. People have a lot of expectations of her, and she's trying to find her footing right now and figure out what her next moves are. Obviously, she has dreams that aspire well beyond the women's belt. And this is her moment where she's kind of taking a step back and saying, you know what? Let me remind people first and foremost how I got here, how I got to my position, why I'm doing what I'm doing. But I will say there is a lot on the horizon for Emily. Simultaneously, right? The folks that she's wrestling against. You've got Maricela Reyes, who, despite only having 1 win, has been flying up the card. Okay, she has been flying up the promotion. Every match she's been in has been hype. It's been big. She is dangerously close to going over. She is young. She is hungry. And because of that, she feels, you know what? I smell blood in the water. Emily dropped her belt. This might be my one chance to get a win on her when people aren't expecting it. And then, of course, in the middle of this card, you've got Jade Gatlin. Jade Gatlin coming off of 2 losses, but is one of the most talented women in this promotion. She is a face. She's here against 2 heels, and she's the one representing, for the people, saying, hey, I can't let Conquest or Death do all the work here. I have to show up. I have to make things happen. Maricela for Burn It All Down doing her part. And this is really 3 of the top women for their respective factions throwing down, and 2 of the up-and-comers trying to take some of that, acclaim from Emily Everett off of her.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think Emily, a powerhouse, someone who has been almost unstoppable historically. I do really like Jade Gatlin in this match, right? A 4-4 face who could really use a big high-profile win. She is only 1-6 overall during her time in the company, despite what is a pretty incredible skill set. The fans love her anyway, but especially in a street fight as a bleeder and someone who knows how to get them. You would think someone who ex-Army would know how to use weapons well. And Maricela, of course, won over this point. That's got to be tempting. But I do believe Emily Everett, there might be greater plans for her. And if that's the case, I think she needs to win this match.
There are indeed. However, in a surprise, Jade Gatlin's going to take it.
You're changing your notes from before.
Yep. Jade Gatlin's going to take it.
Jade Gatlin. Okay. And look at that. It's a 5-star match. Another big match for Xander. He wants to win this weekly. A nice overness boost for her. A little bit of an overness loss for Emily, but she could certainly take it. And the 3 points will not in any way put her in danger. That is huge for Jade Gatlin, I think, in the long run. Unfortunately, no holy shit moment, but I think that Jade is propelling herself up the card, now proving to be a force to be reckoned with. And Emily gonna have some big questions she needs to ask herself about what she needs to do to slow this slide.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, listen, I will say that Emily has a lot on the horizon here, but this one was a surprise. I had thought about this match actually after we got off comms. And I will tell you that I had settled going into today on not giving it to Emily. I wasn't sure between Maricela and Jade. But it's going to Jade with 2 reasons. Number 1, Emily, after tasting defeat, I like to think that she's been such a consummate competitor. She's been so used to being on top. She actually has to learn how to, understand defeat. And getting a second taste of that back-to-back is something that has never happened to her in her entire career. Okay. On top of that, Jade, smelling the blood in the water, was ready to go and came in and showed up and put the match on that she knew she could perform. And now it's a question of how Emily is going to reestablish herself before accomplishing the new goals that she has setting up.
Absolutely. And this sets up Jade Gatlin to her own goals. If you think Ume is sitting clean on that title, I'm sure Jade has a lot of strong feelings about that. So
Indeed.
But we've got a feud package here hyping up the main event between Izaki Cordova and Executioner Goro. It's a nice producer package here. It is going to be the lowest score of the night, but
which is fine.
Compared to what we have seen from other competitors tonight, I think you take that as a win.
Yep.
And it hypes
feud
up
package is close.
a blow-off match.
Yeah.
This is between 2 competitors who, Executioner Goro was not the face of the company he is today when this feud started.
No, he was not. So let's be honest here. Izaki has come up against Executioner every time, in a lot of multi-man matches and hasn't been able to do it. This is his last chance, his last opportunity to come in and be the person that is representing the people here, and keep the most terrifying person in the entire promotion from getting a win and closing this feud out. That also has huge ramifications for all of the factions present, because the higher Executioner Goro goes, the more likely it is that Burn It All Down are actually able to do true damage to this promotion in terms of how the status quo has been held, right?
Yeah.
And so now you've got that. Simultaneously, the other side of this, Executioner Goro. He is called Executioner Goro for a reason. He is the Executioner. He doesn't come out and try to win matches and make you both look good. Executioner Goro set this up as an I Quit match because he wants to embarrass Azaki. He is out here to end careers. He is out here to ruin your life. Now, with that being said, who do you think takes the win?
Well, see, here's the thing. If it were me, I would give it to Azaki here. Because Azaki needs a win desperately. A 4-4 face, 21 years old, would benefit so much from a win. Beating Executioner Goro with the main event ready consequence here would undeniably propel him into main event status. Could even get him close to like the 900s. It could be a like 80-90 point popularity boost if it goes that way. And I think Azaki's earned it. I think he's very talented and deserves that shot. That said, I know you, and I know Executioner Goro won, one of the most protected wrestlers in your division, someone who does not lose lately. I think his only loss was in a multi-man match with someone who was also one of your top wrestlers. You have built him up to being on his way to being a face of the company, and I know that matters to you a lot. You do not like to take a risk that you could lose that face of the company status. And even though you have a pay-per-view match after this, I think that you have big plans for Executioner Goro, and I think that you're not willing to give Azaki that boost at Executioner Goro's expense.
Well, I'll say that coming into today, you would have been correct.
Okay.
But I really want to win this weekly.
Okay. Are we seeing a title switch on a weekly?
And unironically, I think Executioner can take the hit going into the pay-per-view because I've got big plans for the pay-per-view, and this was something I was shopping earlier. And for all of the reasons you outlined, which completely coincide with my change in thinking, Azaki is going to take the win here.
Wow. Look at this. Okay. It is a 5-star match, which is great to see. Executioner Goro still at 1,000. It's a big morale hit. It's a slight overness hit, but he is still on his way to being a face of the company. So you'll have to just make sure he does all right at the pay-per-view. But Azaki, what a huge boost for him. That gets him well into the main event status. He is at 817. Yep. Not quite as much as I expected, but that gets him into the main event. It blows off a feud at over 5 stars, so that's a huge boost for the main event ready feud type. That gets a base increase for main event ready feuds moving forward. I Quit matches get an increase. Burn It All Down is going to drop a reputation level because losing a championship when it's your leader hurts just a little bit more. But what a match for that belt. It is propelling its way forward. And for the people, obviously, a big win there. So, with that, that is a 4 3/4 star weekly, which is exactly what you needed. That puts us at 13.7, actually, sorry, 13.5, which means I need a 4.5 star match to tie you and split the points here.
Okay.
Which I have to say, we'll see. Because as those of you who are observant might notice in this top corner here, not a lot of points to spend because I bought the production facility upgrade. I now have 2 more matches than everybody else on a week-to-week basis, which is a very nice benefit to have, but it is a costly benefit to have. And I accepted by doing this that I was putting myself in a situation where I was potentially splitting points. Now, I will be honest with you. I thought that 4.25 points would be enough. I thought that as long as it was good enough, I would be okay. But you have now absolutely raised the stakes of this. I need 4.5 stars. So we will see with my limited budget if I'm able to put that together or not. We're also going to see you did not get any holy shit moments in your card. If that happens to me, I am straight fucked for the pay-per-view.
Yep. Yep.
That would
Yep.
be a
Listen,
nightmare.
I don't want you to have a good card in terms of stars, but genuinely, I hope you get a lot of holy shit moments.
Well,
I mean that genuinely. I hope you lose to me, but also I hope that you're not left with like less than 200 points going into the pay-per-view.
I think 200 points would be optimistic, my friend. I'm gonna be honest. Even with multiple holy shit moments, that's gonna be hard to do. But we're gonna try. And it starts with Shooting Stars versus Overflow, my least popular feud. It's a submission match here, and look, Shooting Stars, obviously part of the Sky Sentinels here. Malachite Bronson, Cyan Orion, these were the original champions of the women's division. And as everyone who has watched this show knows, the women's division had a lot of ups and downs early on. They had 3 different title holders in 3 pay-per-views, which is not typically how you want to book things. Fans want to know who is the dominant force, get a real reign underneath them. But Shooting Stars, ever since they lost it, it has been a loss streak that they are desperately trying to turn around. And Malachite Bronson and Cyan Orion are both incredible wrestlers in their own right. Malachite certainly has some work to do on the popularity front, but Cyan Orion's just 4 overness away from becoming a 4-4, which obviously we would love to see here. Meanwhile, Overflow, you're looking at Kai Hong Ki, who is currently the lowest rated wrestler in our promotion, desperately wants her opportunity. You know, she's got a great gimmick. She's relatively close to getting over with the fans. And she believes that she should be able to join the upper mid-carder. She's the only wrestler in the lower mid-card right now, and she wants to change that, which means she's going to need to win here, and she is paired up with Hana Rukawa, who is herself a pretty talented young heel, someone who needs a little bit more overness for sure. Struggling as a 2-2 right now, but who a win would go a long way. So there's a lot on the line here for both teams. Both of them arguably need a win. Who do you think is going to come out and get it?
Oh man, this is pretty hype still, you know. Listen, if you remember, I have done this every week for the last 3 weeks. I am rooting against Shooting Stars. I hate them. I don't like them. I want Overflow to win.
You hate Shooting Stars. Well,
I hate Shooting Stars.
And
listen, it may or may not be because of the the whatever they're called, the Shooting Stars in my promotion. Okay, that have given me a hard time, right? In our B league. Okay. I don't care. The name is too similar. Okay, and even though it's literally different wrestlers, I don't care. Give it to Overflow or this fan of your promotion of Wild Magic will be upset.
Well, I hate to anger a fan. I truly do. However, you've been feasting hard for 4 losses in a row. This time around, Shooting Stars. It's an under 4-star match. It does blow off, which frees them up. The submission match did not help. No holy shit moment there. Okay, then.
I'll take it. You know what? At the end of the day, we're happy that it's going to be the lowest performing match of your card tonight, hopefully.
The overness hit to Overflow is unfortunate. I really didn't think that would hurt them, but here we stand. I love crowd interest got me half a star. So you're saying this was a 3.25 star match?
You're saying that people were only watching because they wanted to see Shooting Stars lose. And unfortunately, you gave them the win here. And so the crowd was interested, but not, it was like a soft applause, like one of these, just like, okay.
It would appear that way. It would also appear Johnny Scott. Johnny Scott is a wrestler you might not even know off the top of your head.
Who the hell is Johnny Scott?
Johnny Scott is a member of the Western Watch. He has been sitting in my promotion, not really knowing what to do, honestly, because he's a 2-3, and anyone who knows me knows I don't like using 2-work wrestlers. I find it to be difficult to find a place for them. But
then why draft? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
There weren't any others left. I needed 70.
Likely story.
I believed he could figure something out. And it turns out, thanks to this hot segment, this new gimmick package, because it turns out Gus Sanchez knows how to put a package together. Thank you very much, Gus. A huge popularity boost for him, a huge overness boost for him. That puts him over with the fans. He is an attractive singer, and I've already unlocked the rapper character for future gimmicks because I got the singer over, and the new gimmick package is leveled up for next time as well. So that's what we like to see. I also, for the record, I couldn't find a mic stand. I'm sure there is one. I just couldn't find it. So I gave him a mega horn. So his gimmick is that he's hot, so people don't correct him that singers shouldn't be singing into a mega horn.
Interesting gimmick. Yeah. Interesting.
It seems to be working out. The fans seem to like it so far. But do the fans like it enough for him to secure a win over Grim Oxley, the hardest worker in the indies? Grim Oxley has been climbing his way. He took a hit somewhat recently, as the Southern Sentries have maybe had a couple recent losses. But he is that 21-year-old heel who wants to hold on to his status as a main eventer. Johnny Scott, people don't expect much of him historically. But with this new gimmick, there's a lot of hype behind him. Who do you think I gave the win to?
I think that Grim Oxley gets the win. I understand why Johnny's in the match, right? And he did just get the benefit from the new gimmick. And maybe you're looking to push him up in terms of overness, but I think you get all of those things while still giving Grim the win here, right? Mm-hmm. I think that Johnny's time has not yet come in terms of being able to beat someone like Grim Oxley. And Grim, is at 805. He's in danger of becoming no longer a main eventer. And I think you've got big stuff for him because he is that 4-4 wrestler. He is the guy that you want to keep working. And he just took a loss. So he should get a win.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. If Johnny Scott was not over with the crowd by a comfortable margin, I was planning on giving Johnny Scott the win because I want him to be over. Him being a 3-4 is important. However, he's not going to lose 7 overness by losing to Grim Oxley. So I am giving it to Grim Oxley. And that's going to be a nice 4.5 star match. Johnny will be okay.
Well done.
Grim Oxley gets a win and increases his gimmick rate, which we love to see. And also, we love to see that's a holy shit moment, which I need those. So thank you. Grim Oxley getting the finisher off the top rope. Fans going crazy. That's a nice overness boost there. And go team for Grim. Well done. But we move on to a match type that I don't think we've seen a lot of from any promotion. It is a location brawl match. We pre-recorded this match at Paradise City for Michael Himalayan and Lucas Meltzer. Lucas Meltzer, of course, 0 to Hero, a guy that I believe you have said, Xander, that I've hurt your feelings by not giving him a win to this point.
If you make him lose a 7th match in a row, you're just mean. Like, you're doing it to hurt me.
But look at Michael Himalayan, the attractive bodybuilder.
I don't care about Michael Himalayan. I don't care about Michael Himalayan.
Wow.
Lucas Meltzer hasn't had a single win yet. Damn it.
Neither is Michael.
Okay, but he's only had 3 matches. You're about to put Lucas Meltzer in the 7th match and give him an L? If he doesn't beat Michael Himalayan over the head with that damn chair, all right, I'm throwing my chair, okay?
Well, I have good news for you, Xander. I told you were going to like one match on my next card for sure.
Thank you. Finally, thank you. Thank you.
The top talent feud has gone hot, which is great to see. Michael Himalayan with a nice overness boost, both of them with a morale boost. 4.5 star match. I'm very happy to see a nice increase to Lucas Meltzer's gimmick as well, which I'm sure you're very happy to see. But yeah, there we go. I I mean, look, it's been a long time coming for Lucas. I do like Lucas, contrary to what some people in this call may want you to think. I actually like Lucas quite a bit. He's just one of those wrestlers. He makes other wrestlers better. He doesn't need to
You,
win
you
to
can
do
stop
that.
lying that you like him.
I did.
I mean, I don't think you need to lie about liking him
No.
when you gave him 6 losses in a row. Just saying.
I gave him a win today, and that's what he's going to take to the bank. And I think he's moved on. So I think
So
we should
maybe
as well.
you don't hate him now. Okay, great.
don't, yeah.
But don't say you like him. All right, don't lie to me. Don't
Well,
lie to your fans.
you know what I like? Gus Sanchez once again putting together a great package for
Good for
Ashton
Gus.
Nieves, my longtime champion of the King of the Thunderdome belt. Someone who has earned that spot repeatedly, disposing multiple competitors. It has been a long reign and one that I am very happy to keep pushing. Very happy to see the segment continue to push that. And the champion package, one more good one will get it over the line. So fingers crossed on that. But first, we have a street fight match between Ezekiel Cross and Shane Mack. Shane Mack, another one of those guys I'm sure you would like to see get a win because he's 0-5 so far, about 16 points away from getting main event status. A big match specialist, someone who has probably earned a chance before this point. But it's a new feud here between him and Ezekiel Cross, who is a 28-year-old heel who has been underutilized, I would say, so far. He's a tag specialist, and that's typically where we have seen Ezekiel as a competitor. Those of you who follow our tag division will recognize him as a member of Hylian Cross. So he's had some nice wins there historically, but he wants a little bit of singles credit. He believes he deserves a chance to compete and to get maybe a main event push of his own, without being tied to his partner Garudo, who has had plenty of his own matches. It's like, hey, if Garudo gets matches, why don't I get matches? I'm like, well, here you go. Go beat Shane Mack. Prove you deserve it. So both of these guys, obviously a lot of upside to either winning. Who do you think I gave?
I think Ezekiel's got to take this one. He has the most upside from getting the win. I know Shane Mack hasn't won, very recently, but I do think that the value here in terms of who you're promoting, Shane's not going to lose enough overness for it to matter. You can get that morale hit up, and with the next win, give him the popularity to push to main eventer. I think giving Ezekiel the win here, though, right? He's 77 over. He's a 3-3. He could, with this win, go over that popularity threshold by itself if it's a good enough match, or at least be within striking distance. And then you basically got two wrestlers in the same spot. And again, you gotta help Shane later on.
I see what you're saying. Would it change your assessment if I told you that I have a talent mission for Shane Mack to win his next match?
Shane Mack wins this match.
He sure does, yeah. No, granted, everything you said about Ezekiel Cross is true. And I don't think Shane Mack's necessarily winning the feud. But he does have to win this starting match.
That's fair.
Because I got a quest to make that happen. I guess this feud had existed before because this didn't get... so I was completely wrong on that. No holy shit moment here, which is unfortunate.
Unlucky.
But Shane Mack, close to being a main eventer in his own right. We have not seen the last of him, or of Ezekiel Cross for that matter. But we do move on now. It is a Smack Talk segment. Because Monty Hendricks saw Ashton get this hype before, and Monty's like, look, I'm tired of seeing Ashton Nieves just dominate all of these conversations, right? I know Ashton's good. He is the buzzsaw. He has done some work here, but he is not infallible. I was the first person to hold this belt. I was the one who made the King of the Thunderdome Championship what it is. And I am not going down without a fight. Now, Ashton, of course, talking his smack. He's like, you know what? You have a chance to prove that, man. You've had a chance to prove that multiple times. We fought 3 times in a row in the King of the Thunderdome Championship. And I'm the one who's on the way to being the face of the company, not you. Ashton is going to win the Smack Talk here. And we look at the 5-star segment. I'm telling you, man.
Huge.
These segments are great. They're really good when you get some very charismatic wrestlers in there. Very happy to get the 25 experience and a little bit of a nice push actually for the
that's actually a pretty big push. Yeah,
the feud. Now again, no holy shit moment because it's a segment. So I'm really depending on this championship match between Magic Missiles, Judgment Day, and the Hall.
Praying for your downfall.
Now look, Judgment Day, obviously, we know River Dannenberg. We've all heard it before. River Dannenberg pretending to be a member of the Northern Nightmare only to betray his former faction members, Jackson Hall and Asher Collins, joining back with the Southern Sentries and forming Judgment Day. The Hall of Ashes, meanwhile, Jackson Hall and Asher Collins were like, look, we still love working together, and we can't let Judgment Day wreak havoc on this promotion. We saw Judgment Day last week beat up No Bullshit. And, we know that El Muerte Blanco, their faction leader, is not going to take losses well. So the Hall of Ashes came out. We're going to jump Judgment Day before Magic Missiles, being the faces in this feud, being the current champion, said, hey now, we have a way we settle these things. We do this in the ring. And you both have demanded a title shot against me. So, prove it. You guys think you're the best? Stop fighting amongst each other for nothing. Make it matter. Come meet us in the championship match. And that's where the Magic Missiles are here tonight. They are confident in themselves and their abilities. And they think that, maybe by acting as a face in these feud fights can be a mitigating factor and keep things from falling apart here at Magically Enhanced Wrestling. Kind of containing the chaos, controlling it, one could say, if you watch the last pay-per-view. But Xander, who do you think's going to take it here?
I think Magic Missiles have to keep it. I don't think their reign's been long enough. I don't think that there's been enough build-up between Hall of Ashes and Judgment Day for them to step over what Yellow and Red Arrow have been doing. So I think Magic Missiles keep this one.
Yeah, look, I will say, obviously, Judgment Day, a lot of feuds here. Both Asher Collins and Jackson Hall want to get revenge on River Dannenberg. But you're right, this is the start of something. Magic Missiles are going to take the day because Judgment Day and Hall of Ashes are too busy fighting each other in order to get a win here. That hubris will be their downfall. But of course, here we stand. No other holy shit moments.
I think you get a 4.5-star card though. Oh, you don't!
How?
You don't get a 4.5-star card. I don't know how. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how. I have no idea how.
We must be wrong about how the scoring works. Like the only way that makes sense is that shooting
is if that's factored in.
Dropped.
Yeah. I'm wondering
everything
if
else is 4.5 or higher except for 1 4.
Well, you know what? I'm wondering if the star factor doesn't count the production segments.
It definitely has to.
Maybe it doesn't.
Because Eduardo got a score from nothing but production.
That's
segments.
right. That's actually right. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe on the weeklies it doesn't drop the lowest. Maybe it's only for the pay-per-views it drops the lowest.
I mean, even then, it feels like with a 5-star here, nothing but 4.5. Yeah, that's
nothing but 4.5s with one. Yeah, with one exactly though. But that's my point. Is that one thing pulls it down. So maybe during the weeklies it doesn't drop your lowest. And I was thinking that too, because we saw 2 other cards that, like Walter's card, right, last week or the week before, that was the same thing. He had like all high matches except for one. And that one pulled it down a 1/4 star lower than we thought it should have been, right? Mm-hmm. So maybe on the weeklies it doesn't pull that lowest match off. It only does that for the pay-per-views. Is what I'm assuming. Honestly, I can't imagine anything else.
I honestly don't know. I do know I'm very concerned because I have 160 points going into the pay-per-view, and perhaps most concerning of all, that means Xander, you get the full point for these weeklies. The undisputed champion. I'm very salty. I honestly look. I could have dealt Like if the card had been what I thought it was going to be, then fine, right?
Yeah,
But all
yeah.
of these matches are good.
I know. Literally, your
what?
first. It's just the one match that pulled you down, and it had to be. It had to have been rated, right? Like we can't. There's no way that it wasn't incorporated because how else do you get 4.25 stars when you literally don't have anything below 4.5 stars?
Yeah,
if not with that match included,
we have one
right?
4.25, 1.5. If it gets dropped,
Yeah.
there's no way. There's
Yeah.
no fucking.
We're going
way.
to the Joe boards after this to ask that. I'm genuinely going to go ask them because this is a perfect example of it's got to be factored. It has to be. It has to be. There's no way it's not.
Man, I hate everything about it. I will say, it means that everyone's losing fans tonight, but you.
Woo!
Walter loses the fewest. Eduardo, I think we knew that was going to be the case again. He's been fighting from behind this whole time, but he's getting the facility upgraded, and he'll actually have points to spend. So that'll be fine.
Coming back on fans. I'm coming back.
Most importantly, this is indeed a point for Xander. That brings our overall total. Me with 4 points, Xander with 3, Eduardo with 1, and Walter with half a star. Which means if you win the pay-per-view, Xander, you and I are tied in the overall competition.
Let's go.
I can't believe it. I can't fucking believe
it. I'm doing it.
The fact that you got 4.75 on a weekly alone, like so many things had to go wrong. I look forward to the boards telling me how this happened. I desperately want to know how this isn't a 4.5 star card. But
no, listen, I'm with you. We've seen some questionable ones. This one, I cannot fathom how this is possible without that first match being incorporated. It's just genuinely not possible, right? Like it's not. There's no way you factor in 4.5, 4.5, 4.5, 4.5, 1 4.25, 4.5, 5-star, 4.5 on the final match, and that first match isn't included to get to 4.25, right? You have 1 4.25 star match other than all of the 4.5 and 5-star matches. There's no way. I even thought this might be 4.75 because or it was. I thought you were guaranteed a 4.5. You had the 5-star, you had the 4.25 star, you had a 4.5 star on the last match. I could there's no way that it gets to 4.25 without it. There's got to be some math here that we're missing. There's just got to be some math here that we're missing.
But when we get to the pay-per-view, which will be this Thursday, the 25th at 6 p.m. Pacific time, we're going to start a little bit early. That's going to be our new time, I think, just to accommodate for Eduardo here. Walter will join later. Eduardo will leave early. It's just the nature of how these things need to be done in order to keep this league as exciting as it can be. Man, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I have a lot of complicated feelings about it, but that's screaming into a pillow will solve that. Xander, where can the nice folks at home find you?
They can find the winner of the last pay-per-view and this weekly at Tentacle Coach on all socials. They can also, again, I've told you guys once, I'm going to say it again. Check out at CUNY BC Esports, CUNY BC Esports. Please come check out Brooklyn College as we do big things in the world of collegiate esports.
Absolutely. Definitely go check him out. Also check out the podcast. If it's since it's Monday today, there was a new episode of Final Cut that came out where Walter and I talked about The Boy and the Heron. It's a great film. I have some interesting things about it that I think maybe some hardcore Miyazaki fans may or may not agree with. I'm curious where y'all come down on it. So go check out that episode. Be back in 3 days on twitch.tv/redshirtking for the pay-per-view, 6 p.m. Pacific time. Until then, goodbye, Internet.